Hey there, this is Teacher Elizabeth with another art tutorial for you. For today's project, dragons are going to be our subject matter. I'm going to lead you through a step-by-step process to draw a tribal dragon design, like you can see in this slide. This project is meant to be a little bit more therapeutic and less cognitively challenging, so I hope you enjoy it. You can also choose to just use pencil or color it in. Dragons are steeped in mystery and the unknown, so they make for a great subject matter in an artwork. In addition, I received a request for a dragon drawing tutorial, so I was happy to oblige. I do take requests for video content. Now, a dragon is a mythical beast with a combination of reptilian and serpentine traits. The East and the West have different ideas about what the dragon symbolizes. The East views the dragon as a benevolent creature, a force for good, who provides protection, while the West views the dragon as evil, fearsome, malevolent, a force for bad. Your decision on what your dragon will symbolize will be your own. Alright, so let's get started. I just need to make sure you've got paper and a pencil, and if you want to add color, go ahead and get those colored pencils out. Alright, let's get started. The first thing I need you to do is to orient your paper portrait and draw this curved line down the center of it. Next, you're going to draw a parallel line to that curve, and as it meets the bottom of the curve, you're going to make it one line. And then at the bottom of that line, you will add the finishing off of the tail. It's going to take the shape of like a small canoe. Okay, next, you're going to draw little parallel segments following that same curved shape you already created. This will give it that tribal look. Each segment gets progressively wider as it moves up the form. Next, we will draw the dragon's head. Please pause the video incrementally to copy the different directions that I take the line in when I draw the underside of the head, the opening of the mouth, the teeth, the snout, horns, and scales running down the back of his neck. Now we're going for the horns. They're long and skinny, that first one. And then there's going to be 3 shorter horn/scales running down the back of his neck. And then it all meets up where we started. You draw an oval for the eye, and we've got the head drawn. Next, we're going to draw the wings. I need you to draw me a curved L shape that lines up about halfway down the dragon's body. Then thicken the L at the bottom of the L and thin it out to one line at the top. Repeat the same step on the other side, but symmetrically. After that, you will draw curved triangles inside the wings, and then inside each of those curved triangles, you'll draw another loosely drawn curved triangle. Next, follow along the outer edge of the L's you drew to then add these flame shapes. So you follow the line all the way down the L, and then you extend out with these flame shapes. Remember to pause the video to give yourself time to catch up to the drawing. Alright, inside those flame shapes, you're going to draw these organic forms that essentially follow the basic shape of the flames. They're a detail inside the flame. After that, you're going to draw these extra wing shapes that also take the shape of flames underneath each one of the wings that you've drawn. Please just pause the video to incrementally, step by step, follow the direction that I take each one of these lines. And then inside both of those underneath flame shapes, you will draw another organic shape inside what you've just drawn. Alright, so the whole thing is drawn now, and all we have to do now is go back and clean up the drawing. Go over all the lines and erase away anything that you don't need. This is a very graphic artwork, so we're going to have a lot of dark, hard lines. Now at this point, you can choose to shade in the dragon just with pencil. So it will be kind of like a tribal tattoo. The finished look of that is what you see here. Now, if you want to move to color, here's another approach you can take. Choose your color palette. I chose 4 colors. I decided to make my dark color a purple, then I moved into a hot pink or magenta, then red, then a yellow orange. I am only going to use those 4 colors. You may choose to use any color palette that you want. It's completely up to you. Now what I'm going to show you how to do is to create a fade. So I start with one color, which is the purple, and now I overlap that purple with a little bit of this magenta. And then I fill in unfilled in areas with the magenta. It creates a transition of color from a darker color moving into a lighter color. I'm repeating some of the magenta color in selected areas. So in some areas I'm coloring it in darker, in some areas I'm coloring it in a little lighter. Now I've added the red pencil. So I now have purple, magenta, and red. I'm outlining things a little bit with the red. I'm gonna outline with the purple. I'm going to outline with the magenta. It's all a little bit free-flowing. I do know that I want to create a fade from dark to light. The lower part of the dragon moving up through the whole body to the top will go from dark to light. So the lower parts are going to have the purple and the magenta, and then we'll move into the red, and then I'll move into the yellow orange. It's all about this transition. Think of a sunset when you have colors transitioning from purple to pink to red to an orange. That's essentially what I'm doing here. The parts of the dragon that would catch light as if the light was shining from the top, I'm going to use the yellow, orange, and the red. Any of the other areas that are essentially moving away from that theoretical light, I will use the purple and the magenta, and I might use a little bit of red. It's a constant combination of colors transitioning from one to the next. But I wanted the outer tips of the dragon's wings and the upper part of his head, neck, and body to have some of that warmth and some of that glow. So that's where I will use the yellow, orange, and the red. In the areas where I feel like maybe light wouldn't be catching quite so much, I'll use the purple and the magenta. That's the essential logic that I was using when I chose my colors and then applied them in the manner that I did. I'm going to go ahead and show you the body being colored in, and then the right side of the dragon will be completed off camera. So just as I did on the wings, I'm using the same 4 combinations of colors for the body and head of the dragon. So in the areas I want to be darker, I use the purple. As I start to transition into light, I move into the magenta, into the red, and then finally into the yellow-orange. In some areas, I went ahead and started with the lighter color and then layered darker colors as I moved down the shape like I'm doing here. In other areas, I started off with the darker value first. It's totally and completely up to you. The more you layer colored pencils though, the more saturated and rich they will be. So take some time really coloring things in carefully and layering your colors so that you can get the most rich, poppy colors possible. So on this dragon head, I'm basically only using the magenta, the red, and the yellow-orange. I used a little bit of the purple on the teeth and maybe the underneath of the chin, but that's it. I figured the head was up high catching a bunch of light, and I didn't want to use a bunch of purple. I'm also using a lighter touch when I transition from one color to the next, meaning when I use the red and I start to move it up a blank area that I'm coloring in, and I want it to eventually move to that yellow-orange, I need to lighten up on the red, so I'm not pushing down so hard, so that it makes a lighter mark that then I can come back in and layer with the yellow-orange. And here's what I came up with. Your dragon is going to look different than mine. That's a good thing. We're all individuals and our artwork is all going to be different. I hope you enjoyed today's class, and please email us a picture of your dragon. I wish you all a great week. Be safe and be well.